You know, perhaps I shouldn't be so hard on him. After all, he is Rob Reiner. He directed The Princess Bride. Wait till you hear what he just sent out on Twitter. I'm Scott Ott with Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, and this Right Angle is brought to you by the members at BillWhittle.com. And gentlemen, my spectacles to read the Twitter. This is a tweet from @Rob Reiner. It's Rob Reiner, I think is his name, @Rob Reiner. And he says this, Flynn, meaning Michael Flynn, a former Trump administration official, Flynn about to be indicted. DT, meaning Donald Trump, committing impeachable offenses on a daily basis. GOP's silence is destroying our democracy. I could not resist, and I'll tell you later how I responded to this, but it was one of many similar kinds of tweets that I've seen lately. And, you know, for those of you who are seeing me for the first time, Bill and Steve know this, our regular members know this. I'm no advocate of President Trump. I rarely leap to his defense, but it occurred to me, Bill, that you can overplay your hand, can you not?
Well, I mean, Rob Reiner is an excellent writer and director as well. And if you read that tweet, you realize that you've just put an awful lot of just gross stupidity in an extremely small space, very skillfully.
Yes.
Very skillfully. You know, the thing about Rob Reiner is that he and everybody else in Hollywood have never learned the lesson of All in the Family. They've never learned it. They never will. And the lesson of All in the Family is very, very simple. All in the Family was designed so that Archie Bunker would be conservative Nixon-loving America, who everybody would hate, and Michael Stivic, played by Rob Reiner, would be the liberal, progressive viewpoint that everybody would love. And it turned out exactly the other way around. And the reason it turned the other way around is because on some level, consciously or not, people knew that Archie Bunker was getting up at 5 in the morning and busting his butt at the loading dock in Queens so that he could come home and be lectured by this lazy, smug, overly educated, underbright, fat, nasty hippie.
You left out Freeloader.
And Freeloader, yeah. Mike Stivic is raiding Archie's refrigerator to make a sandwich so that he can go out there and call him a racist and all the rest of it. This is exactly what he's doing today. He's doing the exact same thing. It's, time to wake up. Meathead, we don't believe you.
Well, and the interesting thing is Meathead was Norman Lear, and Archie was Norman Lear's dad.
Yeah.
Ah.
So Norman Lear wrote himself into a corner and couldn't get out.
Well, they're both meatheads.
Yeah, that's right. Stephen Green, Rob Reiner's not alone with this kind of tweet, but, you know, when you read something that says DT, not delirium tremens, but Donald Trump, committing impeachable offenses on a daily basis, how does a serious person read that and take it seriously?
Okay, here's what you have to remember. Hollywood is dying. It was dying before the Harvey Weinstein thing kind of broke the dam on the sexual predation and rape and all the rest that goes on there on a just daily basis. It's been dying for a long time. Creatively, it's been bankrupt since, I don't know, it's been 25, 30 years probably. And financially, it's been having serious trouble. TV audiences are shrinking as YouTube and other outlets proliferate. And what they think they can do, and you see this especially now on the late night comedy shows, is they are preaching louder and more stridently to an ever shrinking audience, because that's how they think they can grab hold of a share and keep it. Jimmy Kimmel's not going on TV and crying because he thinks he's going to win over middle America to Obamacare. He's going on TV and saying horrible things and all the rest in order to keep a tight hold on the shrunken remnant of that audience that he has left. Because if he lets that slip away, it's over for him. And the rest of them know it. Fallon, I guess, is the one exception to that. He is Carson's heir, and he seems to have a little more sense. Maybe there's something, some institutional memory there on the Tonight Show set. But keep in mind, they are playing to an extremely small, strident, an angry, stupid, uninformed audience. Rob Reiner knows better, but he doesn't think his audience does, and he's probably right.
You know, and the striking thing to me is about this, ladies and gentlemen, that what Rob Reiner has done has actually driven me, who was an opponent of Donald Trump's during the primaries, who did not support him in the general election, and who has taken the approach that basically I'll speak out against him when he does something I disagree with, and I'll support him when he does something good. Rob Reiner is actually acting to drive people like me toward President Trump. Because
2020.
Yeah. When I read this stuff and I'm like, okay, come on. I mean, no matter what you think of Donald Trump, he just doesn't have enough time or wits about him to commit impeachable offenses on a daily basis. So it is the absurdity of that. And this, and I'll throw in another sort of tangentially related thing. All of the stories that I'm reading about all the connections between members of the Trump campaign and Russia or Russians make me immediately ask the natural question that, as a trained journalist, one might ask, gee, is this peculiar? Have other presidential campaigns had any contact with Russia or Russians or people from other countries? In fact, have you ever seen a story on the connections between the Clinton campaign and anybody from Russia? Are you telling me that the Russians did not try to influence the American election by working both sides just in case one or the other won? After all, she got 3 million more of the popular vote. It came down to the wire. So when you read this stuff, you're just saying the people on the left are, the creators of art are so inartful in their ability to try to persuade borderline folks. I mean, I'm like they could snatch me. They could get me if they said the right things, but they just play all the wrong tunes. So I'll tell you here, this is how I responded. I mean, you know, Rob Reiner tweets out, Donald Trump's committing impeachable offenses on a daily basis. GOP's silence is destroying our democracy. I wrote back and said, impeachable? Daily? Destroying? Democracy? I don't think these words mean what you think they mean. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks to the team at Right Angle here at BillWhittle.com and to the members for making this show possible.